Hey, welcome to Cheechable LIVN. I'm your host, Cheech, and I am here with Hannah from Kava Saia on Burnside, like right over here. So Hannah, thank you for coming and joining us today. I'm really stoked on everything that you do. So like I really wanted you to just like share your kind of process with our audience and folks here in Portland that might not, know where you are or like the cool things that you're doing. I kind of just want to dip into like what's your background and kind of how did you start getting into like functional beverages and specifically kava?
So I have been in customer service forever. It's been my job. I've been bartending, restaurants, you name it. It has always been my job to just serve the people, I guess. And when I lived down in Florida, kava is really huge down there. It's a huge thing. And inevitably in my small little town, I was just introduced to it by a friend. And within a few months I was working there and I was just absolutely fell in love. It is such an amazing place, and it's one of the few places that I've ever been that's solely geared towards not necessarily just sobriety, but having alternatives that are a little bit healthier, not as intoxicating, a good option to go out, spend time with friends, socialize, and just not be at a regular bar. So of course I was like, I gotta do this.
Tell us about the kava plant. Like, how do you consume it and what is it all about?
So it originates from the South Pacific Islands. It's been down there and utilized for thousands of years. It's pretty amazing, all the versatility that it plays the roles in the different tribes down there. It is a root from a plant, so it's harvested, dried for the most part for our consumption. A lot of people in the islands will just chew the root itself, but by the time we get it, it's in a powder form.
I love that we have this really rich local resource now, and just thank you for cultivating, the community there. That's huge. And just like offering this really high quality offering to that community. So is this the powder that you're talking about?
Yeah, so when it's brought into the US, this is going to be the form you're going to primarily see it in. You can get it fresh frozen, so they'll take it not in its full root form, but just like one step down, freeze it, and then ship it over. It does create a little bit different of a product, which is pretty cool. It has a much fresher taste than what we consume here, which is just very, very earthy. Instead of earthy, I'd say the fresher stuff is almost grassy in a sense, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this is going to be how we get it. As far as preparation goes, it's really, we just add that into water in a few different ways. We use a micron bag and just squeeze it for a good 25 to 30 minutes. We're trying to separate the kava lactones from the plant and bring it into the water. Coconut milk is a really good way as well. It actually kind of absorbs into oil better, but we just see water primarily, so we stick with that. And not everyone likes coconuts. So this is going to be just the kava water mixture. I don't want to necessarily say traditional. It's as close to how it's consumed in the islands that you'll get here in the US for sure. It's going to be, like I said, really earthy. It's going to have almost a, I don't know what the right word is, but
that's so pretty.
A little bit thicker of a texture. It's still watery, but and you can definitely taste the kava that's in there. And inevitably, we just consume it kind of on a quicker pace. You want some?
Sure, yeah. All right. And are there different kinds? So you said there's fresh frozen, and then there's this powder that's kind of more earthy.
So you'll see a few different plants that exist in the kava community for sure, with a little bit variation in effect. And really, why we drink kava is it's really relaxing. So it's really great for calming anxiety, calming the nerves. It's going to be anti-inflammatory. It's antimicrobial, so it can do a lot for you and just really kind of help take the day's stress away, which is fantastic. So with the different types of kava that are out there, they're all going to primarily do that, but they'll switch a little bit as far as effects. Some can make you a little bit more euphoric, some can make you a little bit more, be a little bit more sedative, make you a little bit sleepier, just a little bit of variation in that window as far as what full effect you're going to be getting from it. And with that though, it's not intoxicating the way, say, alcohol would be. So it's really nice as far as just being able to get something that calms your nerves, gives you a little bit of peace of mind, maybe a little bit of euphoria, but not so much so to where you can't drive a car, hold a conversation, you can still do the things you want to do with your afternoon, evening, whatever.
Cool.
One of the things with the islands that I do love when I was researching a lot of it is in Fiji, like I was telling you earlier, they always bring kava when they meet new people.
Oh,
so
nice.
it's really cool that that's just ingrained in how they, adapt to meeting new communities, new groups. It's a no-no to not have kava with you. And some
special cheers that we do,
yeah,
or
so
a
we do
ceremony?
want to say bula.
Okay.
It's similar to an aloha.
Bula.
Yeah, and then we're just gonna drink.
Mmm. I like that. I think that one thing to note is kava is an acquired taste,
It is,
right?
It definitely is.
Very earthy.
Yes. Which isn't a bad thing.
No.
I think it's neutrally earthy. Some people just cannot handle it, and that's okay. Something we do in particular is create beverages that have kava in them that you're not going to taste it as much. Mainly to kind of give options to all the people who want something that can't necessarily get this down, which is okay. But for the most part, it's just a little earthy, maybe a little bitter. It's in the pepper family, so it's going to have that little
Okay, yeah, I
kick
can
to
totally
it.
taste that.
Yeah,
it definitely has that profile.
But every time I've, seen new people come in, give it a try, there's so much that comes into just being in the environment over everything else that even if they're not a fan of the taste, generally they acclimate pretty quick.
Yeah, another thing to note is like the physiological effects that kind of take over. So your mouth kind of gets a little bit of numbing, and then and then you kind of have this I don't know, I almost want to say it's like a counter response that I'm experiencing now. Is just like, you have that calming effect, but then there's almost like a counter pushback of just like, I feel good.
It is, yeah. We all just have so much piled on top of us that if we can just get a little bit of that weight taken off, I think it can do a variation of things for different people. Give us a little bit more energy or help us get more work done. It's just, temporary like alleviation of just the weight that we carry all the time.
Yeah. So tell us where you're located and where you are in the digital sphere as well.
So we are 616 East Burnside, just central east in Portland, and we really just use Instagram as far as the internet goes. We're very behind as far as that is.
No, I think that's great.
We do update all of our events through that, and we're always accessible through it as well. So if you ever want to reach out to us, please do. It is our biggest goal to just have a community, and that's what we strive for, and that's what we have. So if we can build it, we absolutely will do our best. So
amazing. I love it so much. I'm going to go a little off the cuff here and just ask you a little bit about your events too, so people can get stoked on that.
So with us being so community driven, we do a pretty wide variation of events. We have a lot of music. We do a lot of local artists for music. We also have spoken word events, game nights, quite a few different things and different degrees. We also work with Lovely Dating, and we do queer dating nights with them, which is it's pretty cool. It's actually a lot of fun. We've had amazing people come through with them as well. And obviously we work with you, and we try to get other local businesses a good spot whenever we can, use our space however we can to help promote anyone who's trying to make things happen,
That's so awesome. Yeah, that's one thing that just shines through and through with what you're doing, is that you're just a really cool place for community.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your work with us, and thank you for cultivating such an awesome community. Can I give you another bula?
Bula.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And go check out Kava Saia on Burnside next time you're out. Hey, this is Cheech. Welcome to our new segment, Truth Bucket, where we have to do everything the Truth Bucket tells us to do. So I'm here with Andy, our plant medicine expert, Mel, our mycelium expert, mycologist, if you will, and Vince Kiffa, local comedian and expert on consumer products, but like specifically beverages.
Yeah, the liquids.
The liquids. All right, so this is our panel. This is our first one, so we never know what the Truth Bucket is going to provide. So let's dig in. Here we are. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Was there a pivotal moment in your life that led you to your area of expertise? What does that look like in the present day, and how do you share your experience with the community?
I was just
like, I'm tired of going to some random dude to get some mushrooms.
Yeah.
I got to do it myself. I got to get the ingredients and see how it goes. And I was just kind of blasé about it, just kind of like reading it like I was making pancakes. Just like, okay, you add the dirt, you add the mycelium, it's going to start to fruit a couple days later. Wow, bang. And it exactly happened like that. Like manifesting it just on a whim. It really just changed my perspective. And like watching something grow so fast, so quick, so vast is just like one of the coolest things. And I fell in love with it. I definitely want to share it more with my community. Maybe like do like a, hey, you want to learn how to grow some drugs? I mean, because we do it in cannabis and we do it with every other type of plant that we touch.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, maybe I can see myself doing like community classes, just small little things, because it's really, it doesn't take a lot. It just takes just a couple of ingredients.
Yeah.
And that's it. You kind of just let it go. They grow naturally everywhere else, but this is a specific kind where you can like really just like put in all of your ambitions, and well, not all of your ambitions, but you can put a lot of heart into it, and they grow so fast. It is so cool. So yeah, I think I'll just start out to the community. Come get some.
Excellent.
I mean, no children around, of course, but
yeah. No, be responsible, but
yes, responsibility.
Yeah.
Consume responsibly. No one's gonna take care of you, baby.
Yeah. Nobody.
Uh-uh.
Not us. Okay, we've got Annie. What do you think?
Pivotal moment.
Yeah, what's your pivotal moment?
Okay, pivotal moment. I mean, I've been with plants forever. I was adopted by a Native American family at birth, so I've just been raised to always really appreciate what plants have to offer. And when I left that really rural community and then was introduced to the concept of what organic was and what the opposite of that was, it kind of blew me away, because I just always got fish from like Dave down the road, and we had deer, like we hunted and gathered a lot of our food. So it just kind of blew me away, like just how bad like what was available was for us. And then from there, like working at the apothecary and learning so much from our herbalist there and delving deeper into the cannabis realm has just been, they're all tools in the same tool belt of plant wellness. So, and the mushrooms, awesome as well. Like we love diving into all of the mycology. So.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all connected. Right, Vince? What got you into consumer beverages? Because I know you're kind of hardcore, like, into them.
Well, I mean, like, I've always, like, I've worked in and out of, like, restaurants and, like, wine side, beer, bartending, kitchens and stuff, but, like, kind of never really been anywhere statically, so I'm, like, taking inspiration from whatever and then always enjoying it. Like, a big moment for me that kind of got me into, like, my main interest of these days would be, I saw an interview with now world famous water sommelier Martin Risa, and I'd never really like thought about water in the way that I had explained in the segment before. Like I'd bought those distilled fakey waters and then thought I was having something clean and whatever. And so after like listening to him, I went to a store and I had bought like at least 6 or 7 different spring and mineral waters from across the world. There was varying mineral contents and styles of water in that, and so like as I had them side by side, you can really kind of just see like the nuances, like in the same way that like I was taught that like the nuances between a Sauvignon Blanc and a Chardonnay, which to any like wino is quite extreme, and then to be able to kind of like get that with water and then like do water tastings for friends that were skeptics and like like have like a 4 water lineup, and by like number 2 they're like okay, and like by the end of it they're like absolutely, like this makes sense, water's not just water, like that's pretty crazy. And it's like just putting like a coin into like a jukebox and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I can play that tune, like because it's, to me, it's the truth, and it's a truth that like is kind of like unrealized. And so it's been kind of fun like blowing people's mind and like even kind of like showing them like there's kind of some wild stuff out there. Like I've had like water from Russia that tasted like eggs. Like I wouldn't serve it. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's out there. It's real. Shout out to sulfur.
Yeah, egg, sulfur, summer.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, speaking of truth, I think maybe we've got time for one more question from the truth bucket. We should just consult the truth bucket.
I got a little bit more truth in me.
A little more? Everyone?
I'm
Okay,
ready.
let's do it. Okay, here's truth bucket. Come on. Okay, here we go. Alrighty. Oh, wow. Okay. So, how has your field changed in the past 5 years? And where do you see progress in the near and further projected future? Past 5 years. So, we're talking like pre pandemic to now. What's different?
Mycology wise, I think everyone's just like stepping up their game. Everything, everybody's going from the shoebox of growing to scaling to the grow tent of growing. So I think it's just the constant scaling up and like new techniques and different ways you can grow the fungi in bags and tubs and these Martha tents that people are doing. I mean, I think soars the limit when you can grow something out of dirt. It's really just a evolving process of like technique.
Do you see that scaling in like the home grow segment, or
Absolutely.
do you see people kind of transitioning that skill into maybe a commercial space?
I do. I mean, I kind of see both, but it really depends on the money, the licensing, the LUCS, the Land Use Compatible Association. No. It's something like that. But like you can't just go to a spot and do your thing. Like the state has to come and check your stuff out. Hopefully it's the ODA because they're kind of laid back and behind on paperwork and stuff. But I mean, commercial or home grow. It's just like gourmet is just very useful. Everyone's like, oh crap, I don't have to eat meat. I can just go and get like a nice big chunk of this lion's mane that's like growing and sear it on the barbecue. And,
yum.
Whatever you want to do, you can grow. I mean, I think it's important to really go back into like we can grow our own food.
Yeah.
We can grow our own food. What sucks is that people tell us we can't. We're propagandized to that we shouldn't, and all these things. So it's just scaling up.
We've got some work to do. Yeah. Some education. Grow your own.
Education is elevation.
Right, investing in ourselves.
Yes, we can grow anything we want to grow. It's just
let's do it.
It's just taking that first step to be like, oh, I can grow my own drugs.
Easier than like making pancakes.
Yeah. Well, how about you, Andy? How are plant medicines, kind of pre-pandemic versus kind of where we are now and where we're headed?
On the uprise. Clearly, everybody's thinking about their health now. I think in the cannabis side of things specifically, a lot of businesses invested into the infrastructure because everyone was staying home and like really consuming at that time. And now that we're seeing everybody like back to work and back to all their normal situations, like that consumption level's gone down, and there's definitely a lot of scaling issues industry wide that are happening. But overall, that focus on plant wellness and organic wellness, people are seeking out those intentional remedies. You said it with the drinks, they're going more natural across the board. And I think that with that, like, we'll be able to maintain and grow because more and more people are looking for purposeful and intentional products. So 5 years ago, it would have been hard to find a gummy in Oregon that didn't have corn syrup or palm oil in it, and now we have a couple brands that are actually like making those intentional first steps. So
fantastic.
Seeing like those steps being made, I think, are really huge.
Dope.
Amazing. I love to hear it. And then consumer beverages, what's up?
I mean, I think we're sitting in a midst of like rearrangement right now, because like the trends of the last 4 years are all waning. Like pre-pandemic, it was like the White Claw renaissance, and like over the years, it's had competitors come in. Some are worse, some have like actual better flavors, some are using real fruit, crazy. And so like White Claw is still like the name brand of the seltzer, but like you not only see that going down, but also just hard seltzers at a category is starting to kind of downtrend a little bit, I think, too. And I think it's sort of like in this weird space where like like beer drinkers, at least like in Oregon, are sort of like on this hedonic journey to get like the new. It's kind of like weed strains, where it's like it's all about like finding the new hype, like whether it be a brewer or a hop or like like a new sub style. And so like they're always just constantly chasing like the new thing. Where like for me, even though like I should have my finger on that pulse, I'm kind of like going back to like what's old is new. Hey, let's see what they're doing over in Germany. That brewery's been open longer than this country's existed, on paper at least. Let's check it out. And so like, they're probably not putting weird sugars or flavoring agents, like, because it's a bit more free reign in the beverage industry here too, where like they have a law where you can put 4 things in there and that's it. And like we're sort of like in a weird spot where like, NA is going up, it's sustaining, it's getting better. Yeah, there's like some weak spots, like de-alcoholized wines kind of like growing, but like it's sort of like NA beer 30 years ago. There was 3, most of them weren't that good, and now there's like 45 NA brands, and half of them can actually pass as like the thing it's trying to substitute. Red wine's got a long way to go, but like white and rosé's kind of there, and now you also have like the no alcohol spirit. So like we're just sort of like in this big limbo. There's stuff being created, and I feel like there's nothing set in stone right now, because the last 4 years has been kind of stable, but like the last 2 is just sort of like, what do you got? Like put it in the tumbler. Let's see what dice come out, and it should be kind of interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, that has been our truth. So thank you for Vince and Mel and Andy for joining us today, and we'll see the Truth Bucket again. If art is a fiery passion, then creativity is the spark that burns down your restaurant for the insurance money. Hi everyone, welcome back to Art on Earth. Today we're going to be working with clay. Whether you're an experienced sculptor or a visitor to our planet, everybody will learn something new today. It's a super simple setup. All you need is about ½ pound of clay. Out of it, we're going to make a nesting bowl and 3 small objects that tell you the story of you and which to nest inside the bowl. So here is our clay. It's a polymer clay, and we're going to cut this large block in half, just with a razor or a guitar string, whatever you've got lying around. The other half we're going to cut in 2/3. It's kind of fun doing art, Today we're going to be working with a style that is called coil pot, and that's where you just kind of work the clay into a little snake, and you can kind of, mush it around, wring it out. Just, start thinking about all of the cool things that you're going to put inside your nesting bowl. Think about objects that you'll create to represent yourself, and maybe close your eyes really tight and dance in your mind palace while you're shaping this clay. What's a hobby you enjoy or a memory you hold dear? What's the secret of the dark, infinite void that inspires you? Okay, so one thing to note about the coil pot is we have a pretty rad snake going. You're gonna have to take your tool, whether it's a razor or a wooden dealie, and you just make cross hatches here. I like to go down one side and then do the other side and just slash and make X's, right? Because we're going to coil this onto itself, and if you do smooth to smooth, then it won't really stick to itself, so you have to make really vicious teeth so they hang on to each other. So what we're going to do is start coiling this on top of itself. You see how that starts to build a little bowl? I've actually made some things in advance, this is how it turns out. And you can make, you know, a little goofy face or something that, you know, really is dear to your heart. I also made some objects ahead of time. This heart represents my unrequited love for the formless Great One. The pollen from this flower, the golden lily, allows me at night to creep through your dreams. And this bowl represents my love of teaching art. And I'm going to place it right here in the larger bowl. And we can take this even smaller bowl to nest within these bowls. I made other smaller bowls, but I accidentally inhaled them. So after you're done with making the clay and nesting everything in your bowls, you can give it a couple days to dry, and when they're ready, you can place them neatly as a centerpiece at the dinner table or at an entryway to your inner sanctum. And remember, these objects represent you. So once they dry, if you accidentally shatter them, you die in real life. See you next time.
Hey, my lawn people were just here. Looks good. I really don't feel like doing much in the yard today, so I'm just kind of piddling around. And right now, I'm actually looking for a place to hang up my hammock. I might do it over here, like behind the swing. So let's see where this goes. See, there it is over there. I thought that might be a nice place. It's always shady. What do you think? All right, let's see if we can do it.